Spring craft fair season is here, and if you're a seasoned craft fair vendor, this probably is something that's easy peasy for you. But for someone like me who has only ever done holiday markets, this brought up a lot of questions for me as to what I'm actually going to want to do with my craft fair displays and my setup and even my inventory to make sure that what I am bringing and how I am setting up matches the season. So today I'm breaking down 5 do's and 5 don'ts of setting up and running a craft fair during the spring season. We're going to specifically look at things you want to do and things you want to consider when preparing for these spring markets. If you're new here, my name is Natalie. One of my most popular videos on my channel is my top 10 tips for craft fair displays for holiday seasons. It wasn't really meant to be for holiday seasons, but that's all I knew. That's all I've ever really done. I've never done a spring market. So a lot of the things, a lot of the tips, and a lot of the setup that I have had has always been something more geared towards the winter, not really the sunny early spring. So those are some things I really need to look into and think about when preparing for this coming up market that I have on March 21st. So as I mentioned, one of my most popular videos on my channel is my craft fair display tips for beginners. And this episode builds on that one, but really focuses more on spring and how to set up for those type of markets. We will be taking a little bit of a dive into how to prepare for outdoor markets because that wasn't something I covered a lot of in the fall season. However, I will let you know that the spring market I'm preparing for happens to be inside. So that is not something I'm really worried about for myself, but I do want to make sure I bring some of that up because I'm guaranteeing that's going to be a lot of what you would be preparing for this coming season. The first thing you want to think about is lightening your color palette. Now, when you're lightening your color palette, I'm not just talking about your actual displays, but also maybe your products. Let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, when it comes to displays, I personally have always used my trees, my Christmas trees, as my big feature in my displays. And that has allowed me to bring in the greenery that I would want to add or that touch of nature. It allows me to have the height that I need. It allows me to have all of these things that we talk about when looking at craft fair displays that I really don't think is going to make sense in this type of market, in this type of craft fair. So I need to come up with a different solution. When I'm looking at that, I'm going to be thinking about other types of greenery. So maybe eucalyptus, maybe some boxwood, some other types of faux greenery that you can bring into the space and mix in to your displays on your table and even maybe going up on your any type of other displays you might have that you're using to create that vertical space. And what I mean by that is if you have, let's say, something like risers or even a shelf of some kind, having greenery even come down off of the sides of the shelves or anything like that will bring in that really warm touch that you might be looking for. When you're looking into something like that, make sure that one, that greenery is not taking over, or when I say greenery, it could be anything, but that's in my head what I'm envisioning for myself. You want to make sure it's not taking over the space and crowding your space. You want it to be a nice, soft accent. So think accent, not dominating. The other thing you want to consider when looking into the lightened color palette you're going to be using is also how you have your tablecloth set up or any other type of materials you might bring into your displays. I originally always had the white tablecloths, and ironically, I actually went darker, really thinking that that lighter color palette wasn't going to work for my holiday market. And I think that worked to my advantage this past craft fair season. Having that black and really clean look brought in a little bit more of a still neutral, but a warmer touch to what I was looking for my holiday markets. But now it's spring. So I'm back to the white and I will be using that in my displays. Now, when you're looking at the color that you're going to be using on your tables or like any kind of tablecloths or any type of material covers you're going to use, you want to think about what your products look like. Because what you do not want to have happen is have the tablecloth drown out the quality or the products that you are showcasing. It really just needs to provide a subtle background. But in some cases, like for me, most of my products typically are going to be lighter and a little bit more neutral too. So that is something I need to consider when I'm setting up, that I don't drown out my products with the displays that I have ready. The takeaway here is do not bring your winter booth into your spring. Think about how you can adjust that to work for you and for the products you're going to be selling. Spring buyers want fresh, calm, and usable. Heavy winter palettes can feel out of season, even if the product itself is amazing. We want cozy and sophisticated in December, but in March and April, we want to think about fresh, airy, light. I'm thinking like burlap. What are some other things that you would think of? A lace would not be something that works in my booth, but it might work for you. But anything that you feel really reminds you of spring would be helpful. Again, do not overdo it. The point of this is to help create the ambiance without overpowering the beauty of your products. The next do that you want to consider is to create functional zones within your displays. Spring shoppers are often browsing with intention. So when you're dealing with those holiday markets, a lot of people are buying those last minute stocking stuffers, that last minute gift for the person they might have forgotten about. It's very easy to get the more impulsive shopping, I guess, than what you might get in the spring, where there's a lot more intention to what people are looking for. So think about that when you're thinking about what products to bring and also how you're going to showcase them. If you have something that is a functional thing, such as a trinket dish or a ring dish, things like that, showcase how they can be used in somebody's home. That is the best way to up that sale or to get that sale and market your product. So one thing that would be really good to do when thinking about your displays on your table is grouping things by function, not just by size or price. Let's say you are selling home decor and you have trays and key holders. Maybe hold those or style those things together because those are entryway items. Then maybe you'll have other things that kind of would be what you would consider to be more kitchen-like items like risers or cutting boards. And then you might have another section that's wall decor. Think about ways that you can zone your products. And I'm speaking a lot about home decor because that's what I sell, but take this concept and apply it to what you were selling. If you were selling, let's say, purses and wallets and key holders, key rings, whatever, those types of things, think about how you could style them up. Maybe even if you think about it, not just by function, but by maybe like style or sets, that you would probably want this wallet or this little wristlet to go with this wallet, things like that. Style them in places on your table that kind of increases that chance for the upsell, for that marketing component that you really try to get with your customers. The huge takeaway here of what not to do: don't mix everything together just because it fits on the table. We do not want to crowd our space. We've talked about this before. Make sure that you are setting things out with intention and then leave the rest of the products underneath that you can bring out once certain things sell. It is better to have a clean table than worry about having every single piece that you've made out for somebody to shop for. Consider your audience and consider what might be your best seller there at that market. And if things are not selling in the moment, you always have that opportunity during the show to rotate things out. It's okay. It's okay to adjust as you go, but don't set yourself up for failure by crowding everything. Use height to lift up those pieces. So vertical space is very important. We really want to make sure that we are showcasing that. Again, that is going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, as the thing that was always my height was my Christmas trees. I need to think about some options on how I could do that for this upcoming show and also what I might showcase there. I'm thinking I would still be able to sell ornaments maybe on a display that would have hooks on it. I don't know. I would love to know from you, what are some things you've used that weren't a Christmas tree or a tree to create that vertical space. I would love some ideas. I really don't need a lot of height because I only have the one table, so I'm not as concerned, but I definitely want to keep the concept there. So any suggestions that you have are greatly appreciated. Some of the don'ts, obviously here, don't leave everything flat. If you leave everything flat, you risk people from far away being able to see your products, and you risk the ability to showcase your work. Use those risers, use some shelves, use your own things that you're selling as your displays. In some cases, that would work too. For example, if you are selling risers, if you are selling tiered trays, use things like that and showcase how they're used. And then as people buy them, you can readjust your display and reorganize things so that it doesn't look disheveled after somebody purchases it. There's great ways to kind of mix and match there and allow yourself to showcase more of your work and also use the stuff functionally. That's a great marketing point, and it's also going to be very helpful for you as you set up for your show. You do want to feature a signature piece. Now, that signature piece might not be the piece that sells the most, but it's the piece that draws people in and creates the most comments while you're there. You want to show your style instantly, and that's what this signature piece should do. It's what the anchor piece will be for your display setup. At my shows back during the holiday season, it was those shelf sitters that I had that had funny quotes on them that brought people in so they could read what it said. They laughed. Nobody bought them, but they were showcased right in the middle of my extended table that I had because I had two 6-foot tables next to each other at the show. That worked very well for me to draw people in, even though nobody bought it. And it only took up like this much space of my table. For the spring, I could do that and kind of focus on a more spring funny meme kind of theme, or I could look at something else. Again, I'm not really there yet. This is inventory prep and all that stuff is something I'm still working towards, and we will look at maybe some of my initial displays, but I really wanted to just mention that you want to make sure whatever you might have as a focal piece, even if it's not going to be your best seller, it's a great thing because that is part of your display and it's part of your brand. Make sure that it is featured at some point or somehow within your display. Don't try to showcase everything. Obviously, we've talked about this already. Trying to show off everything is going to make chaos at your display or for your display and for your show. It is going to look haphazard. It is not going to look cohesive. Cohesive is a big word for me. I get teased about it a lot in the comments, but it makes sense. You need things to look cohesive the same way that you want things to look nice and cohesive in your home or when you organize a room. You want the same thing for your show. You want the table to not look cluttered. You want it to look like it's very purposeful and intentional, and that those products kind of can go together. Obviously, people won't be buying 10 ring dishes or trinket dishes, whatever, from your booth, but if they're displayed nicely together, it really showcases the beauty of them a lot more than if you're trying to clutter everything to bring out everything. One huge don't that I would recommend here is really think about the fact that you're trying to showcase your products. Please think carefully about anything you would use to display them in. So having something like, here, hang on, let me show you. Something like this, super functional, right? It looks great. It could be very, very useful, but is this going to be a way to showcase a set of, let's say, wristlets or ring holders, whatever, in this kind of school supply bin that you would use? Probably not. So I would suggest that you come up with a different option for what you could use for your products. All right, and the last part is, like I said, something that's going to probably be very important for many of you who are possibly doing an outdoor market, but not so much for me. But I do think it's important to mention because when I have done outdoor markets in the past, these are some things I didn't consider and I think would be very useful to anybody who is doing a market outside. You really want to prep for spring conditions. Think about wind, think about rain, think about all the things weather-wise that could happen, even what might have happened weather-wise last night that might impact where you're setting up and how you're setting up today. Think about the fact that the ground might be muddy, it might be dirty. I know that seems like super scary to put all of your products out around that. Well, that's why we have to consider those things. Consider the wind. Think about if you need to have weights on your tables or on your tents to weigh things down. Consider zip ties or other types of rope that you might need to tie things together and make sure they're secure. Secure beats style. Just remember that. You want to make sure that you have everything secured and in place, because if that beautiful display gets pushed over by the wind, then you might have just ruined all your products just because you wanted it to look pretty. I absolutely agree with making things look pretty, but I even more so think that we have to worry about safety and security of the items that we have worked so hard to make and showcase to our customers. If you found today's video helpful, and if there's anything new that you learned, I would love to know in the comments. And I would love to know, what is your next show coming up? What are you planning to sell? And what are some questions that you have or some things that might help you in the future going forward if this is one of your very first shows? It has been a whirlwind for me over the last couple of years learning how to do markets, and I am not somebody who does them on a regular basis. I do maybe 2 to 3 shows a year. Maybe, I think I might have done 4 last year, but nothing crazy the way some people who are routinely going to show weekend after weekend after weekend do. I want to make sure that I can provide to those of you who don't necessarily do this as a full-time career, but those who want to just dabble in it and see what they think. That's kind of where I'm at. And if that's where you're at, then you have found the perfect spot for you. So make sure to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.